DoMa Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now it's heavyweights. It's the biggest fight that can happen in boxing right now, and that's Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. We know we had March Madness, right? We know we had March Madness. We had some great heavyweight fights, but the madness continues. And in this case, literally. Now, I'm late to the party on purpose. I wanted to see some reaction. I wanted to see what people are thinking about it because for me, this is just ridiculous. We see it coming. You're warning people. Bam. That's why that's on. I don't believe, I've been saying it from day one. I don't believe that fight's happening this year. Right? I just don't. You see how people have been acting up until now, and through experience, you're hoping you're wrong, but things happen and they come and it's just exactly what you expect, right? And then it's just I was hoping to see a little bit of outrage by the time I said something. Not really. Anyway, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Anthony Joshua and his team have offered Deontay Wilder, have given him an offer, a take it or leave it offer, right? And he's like about 12.5 million, which would roughly be about 12.5% of all of the revenue of the fight, right? Because they expect him in from 80 to 100 million in revenue for this fight. So we offer him 12.5 million flat fee. That means no pay-per-view numbers, no live gate. You just get that, right? That's what they offer Deontay Wilder. And that nobody's probably going to accept that, right? And it's 1,000 reasons. We can probably get into it. This might turn out to be long because I don't want to miss nothing. You know what I mean? For those who don't make millions, 12.5 is a lot of money, and you probably would take that. So let me just go on down to us mortals, and we'll talk. Maybe you were somewhere making, say, $13 an hour somewhere, and a job opened up making $25 an hour, and you're qualified for it. So you go, the interview, you get the job, But they say, hey, man, you only make it 13, so we're only pay you 16.50 because it's more than what you've ever made, right? Instead of paying you the 25, an hour, whatever. Just a little, just to get the mentality of it. Doesn't mean what you used to make in the negotiations. It's like what we all bring to the table. But anyway, so the deal is basically absurd. First of all, you shouldn't be talking to no champion telling him take it or leave it, and it's an ultimatum, right? And you're offering him less than a voluntary. If a champion takes a voluntary match, they even get 20%, right? A mandatory gets to 25%. You're gonna offer him half of what a mandatory is, and let's just make it recent. Joseph Parker got 33%, so we're gonna just get not even half of what Joseph Parker in terms of it might not be in the revenue at the end, but the percentage. So you're telling him he's worth less than everybody that he would fight. If you fight, I think Anthony Joshua fights his mandatory right now, which would be Alexander Povetkin. He's not going to run up in his face and tell him he's going to get 12% of that fight. Nor did he do that with Carlos Takam. I think Carlos Takam got more than 12%. So basically we're saying, Deontay Wilder, you worth less than everybody. You're not bringing anything to the table whatsoever. So the deal, and you hear people, the promoters, and people in the know are saying this is just it's a sign. Well, I'm saying it's a sign, but it's obviously telling you what they want, which is we don't want the fight. They know that somebody can't accept those kind of conditions. It's almost impossible. And what sparks me, really, the first thing hit me was, wow, this entitlement is funny, because sometimes you see some numbers. Like, let me make sure this is clear to some people. Anthony Joshua was real huge. So it's huge, right? So his fight against Joseph Parker was viewed by about, 400,000 people. 400,000 in America, right? 400,000. pretty good time, 1700, 5 o'clock p.m. All right, then they did a replay at a better time than that. So it's always staying around 400,000, right? Deontay Wilder doesn't do anything under 1.5 million, close to 2 million every time. So he's making getting a fourth of views. And let's remember, Anthony Joshua was fighting the best person in boxing, other than Deontay Wilder and Ortiz, for the other champion, and 400,000. So he's not that huge in America. So my suggestion for Deontay Wilder and Eddie Hearn and all these people would be like, then Anthony Joshua, you take the pay-per-view in England and give Deontay the pay-per-view in the States when it happens. Are you willing to do that? But you guys are telling him, all this time that you've been on Showtime, all this time that Deontay Wilder been on Showtime for years, we're going to come over there and you're not going to get any of your pay-per-view from Showtime. That's what you're saying, which is incredible. And speaking of Showtime, the head, Steven Espinoza, has said, he's offered to mediate. He's offered to come into the negotiations and mediate and get everybody a pretty fair deal, because he says Showtime, is very important in these negotiations. He said we're very, very important in these negotiations, so they should be trying to let me in here and mediate. And I think he would probably put those numbers back in their face to let them know, hey guys, not over here. We put you on. You got 400,000. You're talking to a guy that makes 75% more than you do. You make 1/4 of he does than he does here. So pay-per-view could probably be similar. So I just think that sometimes people have to remember one thing. 50% of a lot is more than 100% of not a damn thing. So kind of keep that in mind. Both guys are bringing stuff to the table. I just think this one is weird. It's very disrespectful, or to get it more British, it's rude. It's kind of rude to do that to somebody. It's embarrassing for Anthony Joshua. I think it should be embarrassing. I think some of his fans need to come out right now and get a little bit outraged about this for them to, keep them feet in the ground. You're going to offer Deontay Wilder less than anybody else. Why would that be? Less than anybody else. Hearn, you want to quote some stuff Hearn said? Eddie Hearn just said, we're the A side, which nobody is denying. 60-40% is disproportionate. That's how he feels about Wilder. Although 33 for Parker was okay. But it's disproportionate. Offers 5 times more than Deontay ever had. I say, don't forget, Deontay got 4.5 million from Povetkin because he was dope. But okay, whatever. So everything he gets from this fight will be because of Anthony Joshua. So when you're feeling like that, then that's why you're going to treat this guy with no respect. And when you're doing stuff like that, the fight won't happen. It just won't happen. And you can say, hey, well, they didn't accept our offer. But I don't think anybody would accept that offer. And what I'm hoping for and what I'm happy about, right about now, is that it's out in the open. Right? I was very interested to see if there are some fans out there still, Anthony Joshua fans, because some of them get a little diehard to the point where it's unconditional love. And are they going to say that this is okay? Right? Or are they going to really, finally man up and say, you know what, Anthony, this is a little bit too far, dude. You're going to have to, if you want to fight, you're going to have to show it. This is getting hard for us to back up. We can't, what we supposed to say here, man? You can't offer him less than everybody you ever fought. You can't offer the man, less than Joseph Parker. Why would we want to do that? You're just telling me he's not that good. If Deontay Wilder's worth just that, well, who else is? Who else? What are we talking about here? So it's kind of ludicrous at this point. I don't think there's another side to this argument. There isn't. Either you don't want to fight or you don't want it. And this is a good way of saying you don't want it. Richard Schaefer, I seen him in the interview. He was saying the same thing. This is just obvious. It's not really, doesn't take a rocket scientist to see this. Now, if you're blinded by love, which people can become, I told you I wrote a book about domestic violence, telling you about things like this. Let me hold this up real quick. You know, boom. There it is. Slapped. Right? By domestic violence. Right? I'll tell y'all how to get it another time. At the end of the day, the thing is, guys, don't get in love unconditionally. It can mess you up. So let's just see what the fans are going to say, because I keep saying they have the power. You know, if you know, Anthony Joshua fans say right now, no, man, this is a little bit too far. We do want to see the fight, and this one is kind of obvious. No, dude, you got to offer the man a little bit more, give the man a little bit more respect than that, and then we could probably have this fight. If they don't do that, they remain silent with this, it's not going to happen. And we got Joshua versus the dope Povetkin. Well, he's probably clean right about now, I hope at least. But that's the fight you're going to get. So British fans, or not necessarily British fans, I told you a whole bunch of British fans that think different. Anthony Joshua fans, this is your moment. Say something. DoMa Sports Talk, worldwide. And I'm about to hear y'all.